Good evening, everybody. Good evening. And this is my second video. I won't make another one on the dangers of liberalism. I think I'll make my point on this one. But I want to say something, before I continue. I love America. I love this country so much. I love Americans. And I love people from all around the world. And to me, it doesn't matter if someone's a Republican or a Democrat or a liberal. This is just my nature, and anybody that knows me knows that, or anybody that has met me probably within the first 5 minutes or so, they can tell. But I'm making this video because I see something really dangerous, and I know that I'm not the only one that can see it or feel it. Liberalism is a cult. Its substratum, what holds it up, is groupthink. And groupthink is a dynamic that all of us have been through, From the moments they put us in the sand pit with the other kids, we're subject to it. And if you go back in your life, and I think, most of my life, I've never been one. I'm not a follower. I'm not a leader. And I've never been one to you follow the alpha male or you follow the alpha female. And I can honestly say through my lifetime, and I've made plenty of mistakes, just like most human beings, because we're not, we're not, we have flaws. But I've never been really subject to heavy groupthink. I really don't give a good goddamn what people think about me or what I believe, because I try to be as fair as I can. But I'm an American. And I love my country. I always have and I always will. Even though America has not always been kind to my kind. America has its flaws, as do other nations, other countries. I think the whole dynamic, what moves liberalism, at least the people that have hooked their wagon up to that horse, that donkey, is the belief that somehow you can legislate fairness. That somehow a utopia can be legislated, that it can be created. But if you really take a look at liberalism, and it always starts out with things like diversity and, I don't know, fairness for women and people of color, and I can go all the way down the line of all these movements. It's really all about symbolism. It's not about solutions. It's not about being American, it's about being anti-American. It's not about respecting the diverse ideas of others. It's really about, it's really a kind of an arrogance that my movement and my beliefs need to be legislated and need to be dictated and pushed upon the masses. I was talking to a friend at work, and some of the programs that I listen to, which some people would think are kind of out there, like Alex Jones, David Icke, and I have a list of others. Some of them are mainstream. They started using words like hate speech, and my antenna went up because I was like, hate speech. Is what I'm saying right now, is that hate speech? And then you take a look at the campuses, where if anyone is not spewing a liberal message, Antifa comes out, kids are putting masks on and rioting in the street. For the new generation, because everybody's running around using words like hate speech and racism and Nazis and this and that and the other. I was born in 1968. I grew up in an Italian Jewish neighborhood in the Bronx. I could talk to you about racism. I really could. I was chased down the street with baseball bats. People that grew up in my era, we know what racism is. I could tell you about, trying to rent, and being told by liberals that they don't rent to people of color, black people. Right there in New York City. New York City is probably one of the most racist places that I've ever lived in, besides for California. And it's so strange that all of the liberal places I've lived are not diverse. They're extremely segregated, overtaxed, policies that push the minorities right to the edge. Because the only thing that happens when you let in millions of migrants from other countries, what do? They go into, or they move into communities that they can afford to live in, which are normally black and Latino communities. And then you have two diverse populations fighting over limited resources. Liberalism has, they don't think about, it's like, just like I mentioned before, it's like the child that brings home the the cats and the dogs, the stray cats and the stray dogs. It's not about common sense. It's not about economics or structure or what's sustainable. It's just about, this is my ideology, and this is what I think. And by the way, there's 120 different genders. And we're going to legislate that, and we're going to teach it to your kids. Oh, and by the way, no, you can't speak at our campus unless it's a liberal agenda. And if you say anything offensive online, we'll take it down. Liberalism is a cult. It's fascism 101. And at this very moment, liberals and Democrats have brought in the McCarthy era. They don't believe in America. They made the word nationalism dirty. Because America's not their home. These are people that are not at peace. They're in angst, running around with a bundle of different causes that all lead to nothing, that have no solutions. The women with the pussy hats. There are women all around the world, women being sold into slavery, children. And you got the goddamn nerve to be marching up and down the street like you don't have any rights. And then you go back into your cozy home, and you get on Facebook and you say, oh, we showed down. You don't know where you live. You don't know where you live. You don't know what you have. You create enemies. You're at war with yourself. You don't know how beautiful this country is and all the people that live here. You think that you're better than the people in the Midwest. You call them, racist and rednecks? When there's, and if there ever is a nuclear war, God forbid, it's the people that know how to shoot a bow and a rifle and know how to grow stuff and build stuff, they'll survive. You city people will die. If that shit ain't wrapped in plastic and you can't buy it at, ShopRite, you die. But you criticize everybody. Because liberalism is not just a cult, but it's a cult based on absolute arrogance. You think that you're smarter than everybody else because you look at a screen. It's about 6 inches by 4 inches, or 4 by 3, or whatever, or maybe you got the new technology, and you're giving yourself about a million different labels, sexual identities. And because of that technology, you've lost your intuition. That's why you could be made to believe anything. That's why they can make you hate your neighbor. That's why they teach your kids that they have 200 different sexual identities. That's why on college campuses all across the nation, if somebody is speaking and they're not sharing a liberal message, Antifa can rise up, and then all the idiots cackle from the audience and stop people from speaking. You guys are crazy. See, because I'm not scared of a Nazi, because I haven't seen one yet. And I've dealt with plenty of racists and misogynists. And yeah, maybe one day, maybe one of them will take me out. But I tell you what, liberals are the scariest thing on the planet. Because you're pliable, you're suggestible, and you can be made to believe anything. You have